Aloha and welcome to a joint hearing with the Senate Committee on Economic Development and Tourism and Commerce and Government Operations. Today is Thursday, February 19, 2026. This is our 1 p.m. agenda and we are in conference room 229. This hearing is being streamed live on YouTube. We have a 1-minute time limit for all testifiers. Joining me today is Senator McKelvey and Government Operations Committee. First up, we have two bills on this agenda. First bill up is Senate Bill 2627, Senate Draft 1 relating to economic development and tourism, exempts the Hawaii Tourism Authority's contracts or agreements for sports projects and events and marketing activities from the Hawaii Public Procurement Code and all other requirements of law for competitive bidding. First up, Caroline Anderson, Interim President and CEO for Hawaii Tourism Authority.
Aloha, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committee. I'm Caroline Anderson. We stand on our written testimony in support.
Thank you. Next up, Bonnie Kahakui, State Procurement Office.
Good afternoon, Chair, Vice Chair, members of the committee, qualified Administrative State Procurement Office. We stand on the testimony of opposition.
Thank you. Next up, James Tokioka, Department of Business and Economic Development and Tourism. In support, and then Kioni Shizuma, individual with comments. Anybody else wishing to testify on this measure? Please.
Good afternoon, Senators. For the record, Russell Homa, APEC Hawaii, author of the blueprint. Excuse me for my dress up today with my vest here, looking like a biker and Formula One racer here, because I want to bring back the F1 FedEx racing here again like we did before. And I think we can have a venue for that, but I know the Hawaii Tourism Authority has got to promote that sports tourism here. And hopefully we can bring the Vegas guys over here and kind of get, I know that Vegas doesn't really think that they can proceed, so we can either win their contract and bring it over here, but we need a lot of supporters here with the fellow policymakers so we can make this a reality. So I think that penal code needs to be reclassified, some issues in there with sports tourism, using the convention center as a venue as well, and other means. And thank you very much for giving me the opportunity to testify.
Thank you, Russell. Anybody else wishing to testify on the measure? Seeing none, members, any questions?
So you spread up about the Formula One racing, right? You just said something about Formula One?
Yes, sir.
So you know that Hawaiian Homes with Pam Whitty Oakland Dam is looking into making a Formula One track out there in Roberts Point?
I heard a little bit about that, but I haven't really looked into the details. But they need to publicize that to the general public, I think, with the Formula One industry, that we're willing to have that kind of infrastructure in Hawaii.
Yeah, so they're thinking about building it, even though I don't agree with the vendor, but hey, it's gonna be a racing track, so hopefully you guys will be able to capitalize on that and working with the tourism HTA guys and try to promote something over there at that track.
Yeah, I think so. I think that was that penal code that on this bill mentions about maybe we can do the bidding process kind of might need to be readjusted for that matter.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Senator, thank you, Senator Moriwaki.
Bonnie, SBO.
Good afternoon, Senators.
So going to your testimony, I can see the problem with exempting from procurement, going out to bid and so forth. Is there any way, and knowing that the HTA is looking for expediting, especially those opportunities for sporting events and so forth, can you see a way that there could be a marriage of some oversight, or at least some way in which we curtail what they do, so that it's based on really trying to promote or get contracts in place quickly for sporting events, but the marketing part might be broad. But do you have any language that you could provide for us on how we could streamline it or focus it in a little bit more?
Thank you for the question. Yes, I think that we can work on the language. I would like to see that the the way the bill is written, and marketing events, to me is very broad. That could encompass just about any kind of marketing activities for conventions, for sporting events, for any kinds of things. So if we narrow the focus on this sporting events, sporting project events, and marketing events.
Just for related to,
Specifically related to the sporting event, I think that could be worked out.
so you're comfortable with
I would be
that?
comfortable with that.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
And then, Mayor,
go ahead.
should we, consider, I know at this point might be too late, but having, when this exemption is exercised, notification given to you in your office?
If you put it in the bill,
Yeah,
they would still have to exercise.
they would have the
You could.
exemption, but you would be notified when they're exercising said exemption for said sporting events, you know what I'm saying?
It could, that could be put in the bill with the approval of the chief procurement officer. Just keep in mind, if there is an exemption, we would probably follow the same course that we do now, which is post the exemption for a minimum of 7 days, so that it's available to the general public for their comment, if they should have a comment.
Okay, so that's already baked into the process now?
That's baked into the process if they come in with an exemption. But if you leave the language just exempt for sporting events and events and marketing activities to sporting events, then they would not come in. You would have to specifically lay out with approval of the chief procurement officer.
Just a question to follow on. So would that delay the process, or what kind of time frame do you have? Because they're saying, we've got it, this is time sensitive, we have to move quickly. How much of a time frame do you need to turn it around if they come in and we say we want to do it?
Thank you for the question. So I think there's two options available. We can have it upon approval or with approval of the CPO, or we can just say, you have this exemption and you have to submit that exemption, or you have to submit that event, so that we at least have record on it, and we can, kind of spot check it. Are you still?
That's what the idea was behind, just to have a record of it, so there
Yes.
can be some spot checking after the fact, so in case we have another blowout like what happened before, there were some checks in place.
Yeah, I think, because if we do the exemption route, then we do have that delay. We have that minimum of 7 days. So if it's really time sensitive, you're gonna run into that issue. But if you notify the state procurement office or notify the chief procurement officer of that event, then at least they're not waiting for us to respond to them, but they're notifying us, and we can at least monitor it, or we can keep track of what events are happening that are using this exemption. And if we feel, if in the future there are some events that may challenge this bill, at least we can say, this is what they reported to us, and have that mechanism in place. Right now, we don't have anything in place.
So the language you would be looking at is reporting of any use of the exemption
Yes,
for sporting
correct.
events.
Correct. That would be most expeditious, as opposed to receiving a CPO approval.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Any other questions? Oh, Senator Wakai.
Carolina Anderson. I'm trying to find out the necessity for this measure. Can you give us an example of where there was a sporting event that we lost because we weren't quick to respond?
Thank you, Senator. Talon, I'm trying to think off the top of my head. But I do know that exemptions will help us with sporting events. I know it does take time for us to, negotiate, even put out RFPs, and, knowing the importance of sporting events, knowing the economic impact it has, also how it drives visitation to the islands and that media exposure. It's important for us to act swiftly in some cases to make sure that we can seize the opportunity for especially bigger sporting events to the islands.
Yeah, I mean, can we tighten the language, at least for the sporting events, where I understand that you have to be nimble, but in certain sports, there's only one league to go to, right? It's not like we want an NFL game. Who else on the planet plays American football? Or if you go to the PGA, there's only one league or entity that actually, puts on those kinds of global golf tournaments. So I understand where this could be super helpful when it's obvious there's only one entity, one NBA, one Major League Baseball league, one whatever. So that as we tighten up this language to Senator McKelvey and Moriwaki's commentary, in addition, say that this procurement, if there's only one player out there, or league out there, that would allow for you to kick in the exemption for procurement.
I see. Good idea. It's a sole sourcing.
Tightens it, yeah.
Yeah, that tightens it up.
I can understand what you're saying, Senator. There are instances where, sorry, I'm just trying to think off the top of my head. Maybe I'll ask our CAO.
Right, because even like with the PGA, I mean, although the PGA is well known in America, there are other professional leagues. Like Japan has a professional league, Korea has professional league, and in that particular case, we should be exploring what other foreign leagues or organizations are out there that might respond to putting on a golf tournament rather than always we're going back to the PGA year after year after year.
Yeah, these different organizations shop destinations when it comes to this type of events. So as an example, ESPN is looking for, say, a basketball or volleyball tournament. They're shopping different markets to move it, especially with NIL money in play. That puts us at a disadvantage as well. So having the opportunity to be able to react, especially if the opportunity is in conjunction with international teams being brought in, that's why we're looking for this exemption.
Okay.
So you guys don't have a problem with us tightening up the language on just, because at this point it's sports marketing and just, so we're looking at just sports. And then, sports events only, along with, what procurement officer has said in her testimony.
You guys work with that?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, any other
No,
questions?
that's it. Good job.
Seeing none, moving on to. Thank you. Senate Bill 2074 relating to state facilities. First up, Executive Director Michael Yadong for Stadium Authority, Aloha Stadium, please.
No, thank you so much, Senator. Thank you, Chair, Vice Chair. We stand on our written testimony and are absolutely here for any extended comments or any updates about how the stadium project is progressing itself. And thank you for your continued support.
Thank you. Next up, Caroline Anderson with HTA, Hawaii Tourism Authority.
Aloha, chairs, vice chairs, members of the committees, AT stands on its written testimony.
Thank you. Next up, Director Tokioka, Department of Economic Development, Tourism and Support, Seth Kobe, Budget and Finance with comments, Winston Welch, Outdoor Circle and Opposition on Zoom.
Yes, aloha, Chair and members, and happy late Chinese New Year. We'd like to stand on our written testimony. Just a quick reminder that this bill presents the same structural fiscal risks that led to failure of its House companion this year, HB 1609, and as well that if the tax exempt bond is just as jeopardized, then we have increased statewide risks. It also mirrors prior concerns brought up by the Attorney General in SB 583 last year, which was the primary reason that bill was vetoed. But beyond this bill represents a deliberate massive shift in public policy. And for a century, Hawaii has chosen not to treat civic identity and public space as commercial inventory. These public facilities are named for people and places and culture, not corporate branding. So for both of these main reasons, for whether it was the AG or the Budget and Finance or longstanding public policy preservation, we urge you to defer this measure. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, Angela Young. On Zoom, Angela Young.
Hello, Chair. Angela Melody Young, testifying on behalf of CARES in strong support. Naming rights legislated into statute for the Aloha Stadium and the Hawaii Convention Center will help to get funds and a co-management agreement, and it lessens the burden upon the state and the developers. So that is a significant statement from HTA and DBED, where it says that if the IRS policy is not followed, but it doesn't clarify what is the policy that it's referencing that it needs to be followed. So it can be argued that if you keep it within the threshold, the IRS rule of 10%, the IRS generally permits up to 10% of tax-exempt bonds proceeds to be used for private business, including naming rights. And we can ask what other jurisdictions has this statute and naming rights agreement worked in? And for example, the Highmark Stadium, which was granted an agreement with naming rights in New York for the insurance company, the Blue Shield
Angela,
Blue
thank
Cross.
you. Your time is up,
So
Angela.
it works.
And we have your testimony in support.
Thank you so much, and I agree with
you.
Kaloa's testimony. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care. Next up, Stanford Carr Development in support. Benjamin Sorosky for Unite Here, Local 5 with comments. Diane Harding in opposition. Zipporah Feldman in opposition. GL Hutchison in opposition. Jack O'Neill in opposition. Laurie Lloyd in opposition. And Jacqueline Waugh in opposition. Anybody else wishing to testify on the measure? Seeing none, members' questions?
I think I could ask a question.
Senator Moriwaki?
I'm kind of thinking who, either the Convention Center or the Stadium Authority. Just to clarify,
Mike Udall from the Stadium Authority Center. Thank you.
just to clarify, Outdoor Circle and a number of the environmental organizations are adamant that we shouldn't be putting out outdoor signage. And part of this bill seems to be the authority to name the building or name whatever. Is it your understanding that if we give the naming rights, and if we can do that, the naming rights would be on your building and not outside? Because I think that is a real problem for the Outdoor Circle and many organizations, is that, you're gonna spread these signs all over the place.
Sure. No, and thank you for that question, Senator. And obviously, I cannot speak for the Convention Center, and I don't wish to, but just for the Stadium Authority itself. We believe that we have the right to lease the name currently. We have moved forward in the past with the Hawaiian Airlines sponsorship of the stadium itself in terms of signage. We also believe that it would be incredibly advantageous for us to place signage in a manner in which is inward facing to the district itself. We have members on the Stadium Authority per the Senate that reflect the needs and represent the community itself. And Claire Tamamoto and others who are absolutely from that Aiea, Halava area that want us to ensure that we maximize our revenue and at the same time are in keeping with the overall aesthetic of the community and the beauty of the community. We believe that the Stadium Authority has the ability to place signage that I think ultimately would please the Outdoor Circle and would be reflective of what Halava and that 98.5 acres needs.
So if we were to restrict this for the outdoor signage to be inward looking or on your building, and it's pretty wide open now that you could place it anywhere.
What I would encourage is the maximum flexibility given to the Stadium Authority to be able to work with our development partners. Again, we believe that we have community voices there so that we will place signage that will be in keeping with what the community wants and needs. We don't think that we need that level of restriction, that we can do that internally.
So what you're hearing is from the Outdoor Circle that has years and years of history of keeping signage out
Sure.
of public places. So if you have language that will at least give you flexibility but restrict you so that you aren't like, they're not thinking that you're going to go into, the public areas.
I
You know what
see
I'm
where you're
saying?
headed towards, and we're absolutely willing to work with the Outdoor Circle on that kind of language. We're open to those discussions. What we do want to make sure is that our development partners have the ability to maximize their revenue sources And we also want to ensure you as a body that we have community voices, that we will be in keeping with what the community needs and wants. I hope that answers, but yes, we're absolutely willing to work with them.
So could I also ask the Outdoor Circle, who is on Zoom?
IT, can you bring Outdoor Circle back on?
You heard Mr. Didal say that they would put these signs up, but it would be inward facing on the buildings. Is that something that you folks in the Outdoor Circle, can live with? Because it's not really outdoor in the public, on the streets, is that something that, it's been done before? I mean, a lot of buildings have names on it. The Stan Sheriff Building, for example, at UH. So,
Thank you for the question, Senator. It's very encouraging to have the Stadium Authority, and we appreciate that offer. That said, if we're actually enacting legislation, it should be precise to reflect exactly that. And our primary concern absolutely is the exterior facing what the public sees. So if it's on the inside of the stadium, and that's what people are paying to look at on the inside, we don't have the objection with that. So we are happy to work with them. But if we're putting this into some sort of code, then we should actually codify what we're talking about here.
okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator Wakai.
Yes, Senator.
A study was done about 3 years ago about the value of a naming rights contract. And it came back at the time at about $1.5 million a year. For 20 years, that'll give you an extra $30 million. What would that $30 million buy for us as the public for a better stadium?
It buys a tremendous amount. So for instance, our private sector development partners having access to greater pools of money to increase this number to 650 million for a total stadium has allowed for us to go to 31,000 seats, allowed for us to go to individual seating and not bench seating. I can't specifically say what 30 million buys, but it continues to keep us on that track towards a bigger and better stadium that we can provide for the people of Hawaii and for the University of Hawaii as well.
Do you know of any major stadium in America that has just a standalone name? Los Angeles Stadium, Chicago Stadium? I mean, what stadiums that are venues that attract big-time events have just no corporate sponsorship names on them?
I'm not aware of any. Naming rights is Lambeau, right, with Green Bay. I guess that would be the only one that offhand that I'm aware of. That'd be something we'd be happy to look into. But naming rights is a pretty common practice. For instance, the crypto arena in Los Angeles, paid a lot of money to be able to call itself as such. SoFi, Allegiant, Levi. This is a pretty common practice in the industry, and it allows for marketing in a non-obtrusive, non-obnoxious kind of a way, and also raises money for the stadium itself.
I mean, SoFi has a $30 million a year contract for 20 years. $600 million is what SoFi pays to put their name on that stadium. And in this particular legislation, it's pretty clear that all we're doing is naming rights. You can put your company name or your logo, and that's it. It's not going to be like Allegiant Field where you have a video display and it's kind of a billboard digital display. It's just static. It's a name of whoever is the highest bidder.
Naming rights very similar to, or at least the way that we read it is it's very similar to the way Hawaiian Airlines had it previously, or the way that others have it with Stan Sheriff.
Right. And then let's say, looking at what the Outdoor Circle's arguments were, that they don't want any names on any buildings in Hawaii. Would you be open? If they bid $2 million and they say that they don't want to put any names on the side of the stadium for 20 years, would you take that $2 million a year for 20 years? Right, they can bid, right? If they want the name, no name on there, they can be a bidder and say, I'm gonna give you stadium money, stadium whatever, and I'm not gonna put my name on there, right? That's a way for them to be helpful in this conversation.
Senator, I do agree with you. I think that they can absolutely bid. Should this move forward, they can claim the naming rights and then choose not to put any signage. What we care about at the Stadium Authority and with our development partners is that we maximize revenue. And if they're willing to put that revenue forward, we're willing to move forward with them.
Yeah, good. See, that would be the helpful testimony from them. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Thank you. Any other questions, members? Hang on, Mike, real quick. So Mike,
Yes,
Do you
Senator.
have any estimates of the revenue you can generate from leasing the naming rights directly to the state?
They vary. And so if, it depends on kind of how you calculate. Senator Wakai was absolutely right. There was a study, I believe 3 years ago, that put it in that 1.2 to 1.5 range. There have been other studies based on other locales that put it much higher into that 7.2, 7.4 range. I hesitate to say that large a number and then it fall back to the 1.5 or 1.2. I guess what I would say, Senator, is that I have greater confidence in the previous study than I do in the current marketplace.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Any other questions? Seeing none, short recess. Hi, welcome back to decision-making for Committee on Economic Development and GVO. First up, Senate Bill 2627 relating to economic development and tourism. We are going to pass this with an SD1 by requiring the HTA to submit annual reports to the procurement office detailing those sports projects, events, and activities, lining out marketing that did not go out to competitive bidding, narrowing it down to sport events only, and notification per procurement officer that provided that the agency shall report to the chief procurement office the contract details no later than 30 days after contract execution, using the language from state procurement's testimony and discussion in today's hearing, and to also include that reporting goes back to state procurement office as well. Any discussion? Oh, yeah, sorry, and defecting the date to July 1st, 2050, good catch. Any discussion?
That's what I live for.
Seeing none, Vice Chair Wakai for the vote, Chair goes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Favela. Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Oh, GVO, same recommendation, Senate Draft 1, I vote yes.
On SB 2627, Chair's recommendations to pass with amendments. Chair votes aye, Vice Chair votes aye. Senator Hashimoto? Aye. Senator Moriwaki?
Aye.
Senator Owa? Excused, measures adopted.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you very much.
I'm sorry, I gotta go back. Passing with an SD2, passing with an SD2, and everything else what I said prior to, I said the SD1.
Yep.
Okay, okay. So, I did it with an SD1 earlier, so it should have been an SD2. Same recommendation, just to add it as an SD2. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, I'm sorry, Vice Chair Wakai for the vote again. Chair goes aye.
Anybody on EDT want to change their vote? Okay, it passes.
Thank you.
Government operations, same recommendation. Does anybody want to change their vote? Seeing none, the recommendation still stands adopted.
Thank you. Sorry, moving on to Senate Bill 2074 relating to state facilities. Passing with an SD1 by removing references to the convention center and naming rights due to concerns raised by the HTA and the Department of Budget and Finance relating to tax consequences, including insertion of a new conforming section in Chapter 102 HRS, clarifying that the chapter does not apply to concessions within the stadium facility and making necessary technical and non-substantive changes and defecting the date to July 1st, 2050. Any discussion?
Does it not apply or apply?
Does not apply.
So inside of the statement?
No, does not apply to concessions within the stadium facility. Okay. Vice Chair Wakai for the vote. Chair goes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Government operations, same recommendation. Senate Draft 1, I vote yes.
Vice Chair votes yes. Senator Hashimoto? Aye. Senator Moriwaki?
Aye.
Senator Owa? Excused, the measures adopted.
Okay.
Thank you. With that, we are adjourned. Hello and welcome to the hearing with the Senate Committee on Economic Development and Tourism. This is our 1:05 p.m. agenda. We are here for decision-making on 3 bills. First bill up is Senate Bill 2716 relating to cooperatives. After careful discussion, while this is a good idea to look at cooperatives, we are going to defer this bill. Next up, Senate Bill 2374 relating to a blue economy. It establishes the Blue Economy Working Group to study how to develop and support marine-based economic activities that align with the state's decarbonization and restorative food production goals. It requires a report to the legislature. We are going to pass it with an SD1 by defecting the date to July 1st, 2050. Note AN passed Senate Bill 2374 with the same SD1 on Wednesday, February 18, 2026. Members, any discussion? Seeing none, Vice Chair Wakai for the vote. Chair goes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Short recess. Sorry, members, I skipped over one of the bills. Senate Bill 2698 relating to transportation. There's been some challenges on this bill. We're going to pass this with an SD1 by taking into consideration part of the Attorney General's recommendations, questions that were raised by general fund contributions in Section 5. We will not address. We will make changes on page 2, line 6, deleting these words, appropriations made by legislature for deposit into the fund, that will be deleted from the bill. We will also take DOT's recommended amendments. This bill was also passed early on in transportation with the exact same language. Members, any discussion? Seeing none, Vice Chair Kai for the vote. Chair goes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you, and with that, we are adjourned. Hello and welcome to the joint hearing with the Senate Committees on Economic Development and Tourism and Education. This is our 1:06 p.m. agenda. With us today is Education Chair and Committee, Senator Kim. We're here for decision-making on Senate Bill 2816 relating to state enterprise zones. Never in my craziest mind would I think I would be actually making all these amendments, but here we go. Brace yourselves. We will be passing this with an SD1 by 1, updating Section 2 definitions in Section 209E-2 HRS, add the following new definition for an innovation enterprise. Innovation enterprise means an area located on property owned by the state of Hawaii that is intended to support or currently contains businesses primarily engaged in biomedical or life sciences research, clinical trials, medical technology development, pharmaceutical, manufacturing, aerospace, technology research and development, space domain awareness, or information technology design and production services. 2, update Section 3, designation limits in Section 209E-4 HR, add a new subsection C to read as follows. C, the department may declare up to 2 census tracts in the state that contain an innovation enterprise to be designated as an enterprise zone subject to the governor's approval. 3, adding a new section, comprehensive review, insert a new uncodified section mandating a comprehensive review of the program by the Department of Business and Economic Development and Tourism. The text should read, Section 6A, the department in consultation with the Department of Taxation shall conduct a comprehensive review of the state enterprise zones program established under Chapter 209E, Hawaii Revised Statutes. B, the comprehensive review shall include, 1, an evaluation of the economic impact of the program, including the number of jobs created and the types of industries supported. 2, an assessment of whether existing enterprise zones continue to meet the statutory eligibility criteria for designation. 3, revenues generated by the participating companies by county. C, the department shall submit a report of its findings to the legislature no later than 20 days prior to the convening of the regular session of 2027. The department shall do this review in-house. 4, renumbering the remaining sections of the bill accordingly, make any technical and non-substantive amendments and defecting the effective date to July 1st, 2050, period. Any discussion?
Can you repeat that again?
You can snapshot this for a record. Seeing none, Vice Chair Wakai for the vote, Chair goes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to thank you for your amendments and to keeping the enterprise zones whole as to the whole intent. So I appreciate that. So the same recommendation for the Committee on Education to pass with a SD1. Chair votes aye.
Members, SB 2816, Chair's recommendation passed with amendment. Chair votes aye. Vice Chair's excused. Senator Fukunaga.
Aye.
I vote yes. Senator DeCourt.
Aye.
Chair recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. With that, we are adjourned. Thank you, members. Hello and welcome to the joint hearing with the Senate Committees Economic Development, Tourism, and Water, Land, Culture, and the Arts. This is our 1:02 p.m. agenda. We have a 1-minute time limit for all testifiers. Chair Chris Lee, Senator Lee, who's joining us along with the Water, Land, and Culture and Arts Committee. This agenda has 6 bills. I know we are short on time today. We have your testimonies. If you can stand on your testimonies, that would be super helpful. So let's get started. First up, the testifiers list, we have Department of Agriculture and Biosecurity. Dab, please. 2156. Thank you. Next up, Georgia Skinner with Creative Industries, DBED.
Georgia Skinner, DBED, Creative Industries, supports intent with some comments added. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Barry Shung for Department of Land and Natural Resources.
Attorney, but I'm the department, I'm got our resume.
Thank you. Next up, Lauren Yasaka. Okay, thank you. Wow, they get them twice. Too good, you didn't zoom in person. Next up, Director Tokioka from Department of Business and Economic Development.
Supports the intent, thank you very much.
Thank you. Next up, Mary Alice Evans for Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. Mary Alice.
Chairs and members, first of all, apology for the late testimony. Second of all, apology for wanting to explain my testimony. We support DBED's intent, but we offer I think a simpler solution, that is to amend HRS Chapter 201-14, which is the consolidated permitting processing section that's already in HRS, and to add the Oversight Commission to that subsection as a new subsection rather than an entirely new part. And I would also say that the amendments to Chapter 205, the one to 4.5, which adds filming as a permitted use to the Ag District, is appropriate, but the change to Chapter 205-6, special use permits, would subject film permits to a special use permit process that was designed for long-term substantive uses, and it's intentionally slow and careful. That does not fit the film industry's needs at all.
Thank you, Mary Alice. Your time is up. Thank you. Next up, Walea Constantino with Honolulu Film Office.
I'll stand in our written testimony supporting the intent and wanted to agree wholeheartedly with the testimony of Director Evans.
Thank you. Next up, Walea, I got you 2 times for Coalition of County Film Offices in Hawaii
Yes,
as
I
well.
take on the other hat. The Coalition of County Film Offices were concerned about the timeframe that the current bill would propose. So again, supporting the intent, but it would not streamline the process. And through our support to the comments that Director Evans has made.
Okay, thank you. Next up, Irish Barber testifying for Hawaii Film Alliance on Zoom.
Sorry, I'm driving. Aloha, chairs, vice chairs, and members of the committee. We stand on our written comments that this needs more discussion with subject matter experts. Mahalo.
Thank you, Irish. Please pull over. And Angela Young.
Aloha, Angela Melody Young Cares, in strong favor of this legislation. And so I think what the committee can consider is to take a peek at all the other policies that are effective. For example, California, Hollywood, where farmers typically generate revenue by acting as location scouts or renting their land to production companies. So in Hollywood, farmers and location scouts build partnerships by listing properties in professional databases, engaging with film commissions and negotiating location agreements that turn rural ag land into profitable short-term film sets, right? So if in Hawaii, the committee wishes to enact an effective policy, then it should ask perhaps advice from the industry that knows what it's doing. And so I think it's a good starting point in coordination with the appropriate county planning offices to.
Thank you, Angela. Your time is out.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Sydney Haas with Hawaii Food and Policy with comments. Sherry Monor, Chamber of Commerce in support. Daniel Hamilton Low with comments. Gennaro Galdarama, support. Brian Spicer in support. Kirsten Sifton in support, and Kristen Zazuera in support. Anybody else wishing to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, any questions? Question for debate. Georgia, who currently regulates the film production on ag lands?
Well, it has to go through a complicated process, and I would like to ask Mary Alice to also come up and assist with it, because we have been faced with this many times, and on Hawaii Island in particular, which has the lion's share of our agricultural lands. And we think that it's really important to be able to streamline. So I think there's a lot of elements in the proposed measure, and I think working together with the introducers and OPSD, I think Mary Alice has a good recommendation on streamlining this to be able to come into the current film permitting process.
So Mary Alice, who currently regulates that film production on the ag lands? So I'm sure there's several.
It's complicated.
You get ag, you get private landowner, county.
Public landowner, private landowner, the Chapter 205, 6, special use permit process, the land board's right of entry process, the state film offices, facilitated film permits. It is complicated. The oversight committee, especially if it's placed in the existing section for consolidated film permitting, would seek to streamline that while protecting ag. I do want to ensure that, we understand the state ag district, which also has 23 permitted uses at the moment. That 24th permitted use would be very helpful and useful, but not the state's Land Use Commission special use permit process, which the counties also are required to conduct, because that is a very careful, slow, intentionally slow, because it's supposed to provide a decision-making process for things like landfills, quarries, things that are going to be there for decades and decades. Filming is a temporary, usually very short term, and it generally does not do land disturbance. It is able to mitigate and move as soon as it's done, and it generates agricultural accessory income for the farmer. It can generate income for.
So Mary Alice, how expeditious will an agriculture film production land use oversight committee be in helping film producers obtain permits to film on agriculture lands?
If it is given the ability to issue a special use permit just for filming on ag lands, it can be very expeditious.
But anything else with having to excavate on area to set up could be cumbersome. Got it. Thank you.
Can I ask a question then
Senator
further? But you still need Land Use Commission approval? Because I thought you just said it can be expeditiously done?
Chapter 205-6, as opposed to Chapter 205-4.5.
Right.
Lays out the statutory basis for the Land Use Commission and the county planning commissions in Oahu, the county council, or city council, to conduct a special use permit process. I would refer you to the Waimanalo Gulch process, which has been going on for decades.
Right.
It is not designed for filming. And so I believe, this is my personal view, but I have done some consultation, that a film oversight committee could, with this legislature's approval, be given the ability to issue special use permits in the ag district that protect agriculture, protect public lands, but also can move very quickly.
Okay, but you're saying that it only applies to City and County of Honolulu?
No, 205 applies to all four counties.
All counties.
Oh, okay. So there should be no problem?
There'll always be a problem.
Yeah, we've been through it before, that we've had examples of going before Hawaii County, in fact, regarding, it was about several years ago, but that was something that even the county was trying to work in their planning department to help facilitate. I think there's a lot of positive things in this measure that we could work with to be able to help the counties, because as we know, they have the majority of the beautiful lands that producers want.
Well, the issue is the counties were supposed to address all of their zoning requirements, but Mary Alice, what act was that? In changing all of the general plans to see fit. So I assume that many of the counties have not done that as well, and probably behind. But for something like this film industry and, the intentions, the legislature has always supported the film industry as well. So I think maybe it's about time, Mary Alice, that we perhaps look at the situation finally and come up with a statute that would apply statewide. Then, we won't have these issues come up independently of bills and services. And I think that's the question that our chair from EDT, is, and I tend to agree with her with all the questions that are being asked as well. But, it's long overdue. I'm film industry. I was in the hotel business for 20-something years, 40 years ago, and we had industries coming into Big Island. However, but it still seems like we don't have a statute that clearly defines, and this is an important industry for our state. So, okay, maybe we need to look at some future, like soon, Mary Alice, recommendation to make some changes.
Senator, thank you very much. You have currently in the bill, you have the Director of the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development, along with DBID, DLNR, and another, on the Oversight Committee, so that As long as that stays in the bill and the bill moves forward for further discussion, then I can continue to offer.
Well, we shouldn't be doing statutes only for certain counties. You know, it should be, you know, something that should be statutorily for the state, because the industry travels throughout our state, and, you know, we need the industry, you know, to help us going further. But I think there's lots of work. Now, where are we on our Hawaii State Plan that could address part of this issue?
The Hawaii State Plan, thank you, legislators. We're in our second year of collecting input. We're going to put all the good suggestions that a couple came in bills that you saw, green infrastructure and others, into a revised chapter that the legislature can consider. We want to call out some of the things that have changed since the 70s when that.
Yeah, but what plan, because we had 12 functional plans, so the changes would, with regards to this issue, would be under agriculture, or where would you
No,
decide?
I put it in economic development.
Economic development. Okay, I don't want to belabor this because there's lots of bills before us, but lots of work to do, Chair, and I agree with her, you know, the concerns, the questions that are raised.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Senator Rivera.
Sorry. And I think this bill is great, and I guess not everybody understanding, and Georgia we know, because Hawaii Island is one of the difficult places for filming on ag. There's so much hoops and loops to get through, so something like this will help streamline. Oahu, we don't have as much because we do film in a lot of areas, but a lot of the neighbor islands, for whatever reason, the county would just be, I guess, the watcher of the gate. So something like this would really help the film industry with the neighbor islands. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Chair. Any other questions? Thank you. Seeing none, moving on to Senate Bill 3085, relating to the Hawaii Film Studio. First up, Georgia Skinner,
Stand on our testimony and support really helps us to build out the full package that the legislature is also proposing to help make our film industry more competitive. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Lauren Yasaka for Department of Land and Natural Resources.
Good afternoon, we stand on our written testimony support.
Thank you. Next up, Director, Business Economic Development and Support. Thank you. Next up, Irish Barber on Zoom. Stop driving, Irish, before you get into an accident.
I have you on Bluetooth. Aloha, Chair, Vice Chairs, and members of the committees. We stand on our written testimony and support, and mahalo for allowing us to testify.
I wouldn't accept her driving.
Next up, Angela Young.
Angela Melody Young in strong favor of this legislation. So if DLNR specialty is not business management and filmmaking, then it should let DBED help manage these aspects of growth in the filmmaking industry with no need for land board approval for new tenants to utilize the studio. But DLNR can provide advice about appropriate use and inappropriate use and the impact of filmmaking activities to be conducted on DLNR properties to protect from damage and to advise on Native Hawaiian cultural practices so that activities conducted does not physically degrade the land and infrastructure. And Barbie was not filmed on a farm, although in the movie it looks like it's filmed on a farm. It was actually filmed in a studio in the United Kingdom. So when you have more studios, you have more television shows, movies, and you have thriving families and middle-class people who have jobs. So policies should empower the filmmakers industry's voice to foster authentic representation and to help with storytelling to build active and
Angela,
inclusive
time
networks.
is up. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
So we have 7 other people in support of this measure. Anybody else in the room wishing to testify on this measure? See none, members. Any questions? Quick question for DLNR, please. So do you see any problems with granting this exemption so DBED can streamline its use of the film studio?
No, we don't often, I think, enter into these agreements or we have to let them. They're like kind of few and far in between, and it takes burden off the staff, to be honest, and we're fine with the film studio doing so.
Thank you. Okay, moving on, Senate Bill 3169 relating to coastal resilience. First up, Michael King testifying for Department of Land and Natural Resources.
Good afternoon, chairs, committee members. I just want to add a little bit to the testimony, or I want to parcel it out. We have zero concerns with DBED taking the lead in doing the planning and coordination to respond to the erosion at Montecuji Bay. Zero concerns. Our issues are that we understand a long-range plan is being developed, and this bill would excuse it from all environmental regulation, conservation district use permits, and SMA permits as written. And we oppose that. We without even seeing the plan, we don't think we can excuse it from all these permits. We had a robust discussion on the companion bill in the House. The compromise reached on page 6, line 2. Rep. Hashem changed the word shall to the program may be exempt. I'd rather have that whole section deleted, but I was able to live with that compromise. So I wanted to share that with the committee. Thank you.
Next up, Mary Alice Evans from Department of Planning and Sustainable Development.
Chairs and members, I'm Mary Alice Evans with the Office of Planning and Sustainable Development. We support the bill, and we strongly support a regional shoreline management approach to these threatened areas. We think that headland to headland is the appropriate way to look at shoreline protection. So we're willing to support DBED on this, and thank you.
Thank you, Mary Alice. Next up, Nohelani U'u-Hodgins, Council Member in support. Yukile Sugimura, Council Member from Maui, also in support. Kathleen Murayama on Zoom with Montecuji Soto Zen Mission. Go ahead.
I'm Kathleen Murayama of Paia Montecuji Soto Zen Mission's Administrative Board, and I want to add further emphasis to Montecuji's call for assistance and support. In the past year, a computer science teacher from Maui High School and a handful of his students have been conducting drone observations and collected data on the shoreline erosion at Montecuji Bay. They have completed 3 observations, and after their latest visit in January, one of the students emailed the board president and asked whether we actually excavated the portion of the shoreline stolen, noticeably missing. He had to explain that the damage was all due to the winter waves. The scope and scale of damage is significant, and the rapid progression of erosion, as witnessed by the high school student, can seem unbelievable, but it's very real. Paia Montecuji has spent about 10 years and close to $1 million to implement a temporary emergency solution. We humbly ask, we stand on our written testimony, and we ask for your support of Senate Bill 3169. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Patrick Sullivan in support with Oceanet, Douglas Meller, League of Women Voters in opposition, Eric Moto for Paia Montecuji Soto Zen Mission in support, Roberta Arita testifying for Montecuji Soto as well in support, and then Cindy Freitas in opposition and Scott Warden in opposition. Anybody else wishing to testify on this measure? Seeing none, members, any questions?
Mary Alice, please.
Senator Inoue.
Thank you. We've had several bills this year, and in most recent discussions about the same issue with regards to sea level rise and all the other crises. So such as the issue on Maui, I think we've dealt with this as well. So, and I think we've made decisions on other bills. How does this one different from that?
This is a pilot project that's an opportunity, as I see it, to put our adaptation pathways approach, which is a DLNR and OPSD and CZM approach, for regional management in practice. Our CCM staff has gone and looked at the bay. It is severely threatened and needs to have, and the landowner needs help. And this is not, we're not looking at a for-profit resort community. We're looking at a cultural icon that, should be protected. And so OPSD will help DBID with all of the planning approach, look for federal funds, look for any sources of revenue. So I see it as a pilot project. But I do think the concept of regional shoreline adaptation is one that we're going to need to move forward with, because we can't continue to deal with these on a TMK by TMK basis, because the ocean doesn't work that way.
Well, it's just kind of concerning because we had issues with regards to our, what was that issue on Maui, Hanauma Bay, or just recently? Anyway, and it's been an ongoing plans and issues for the last 2 years, more so with bills, and we just heard one recently. I'm just wondering, we're designating this particular bill, Montokuji Bay, but what about the others that we have been dealing with on Maui for the last several years? That's just my concern. And this is a pilot project, but then all the other ones that came before our committees has already been, I mean, the issues are the same. So I'm wondering if there's a conflict, or how can you do a study with only one bay? I mean, I have no problem. I can see the urgency for this particular bay.
So Senator Inouye, what we're gonna try and look at as we look at this bill, and then you guys had discussion yesterday with Waterland. Chair and I
Yes.
have had discussions on how do we look at several of these bays to come up with a solution to try and address not just this one.
Right.
Which is why
Okay.
we've been talking directly with, the different entities that have been working on it, because it's been a problem. And it has been Paia Bay that has had this problem with the deterioration.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Any other questions? Seeing none, I'm going to turn this over to my good-looking chair from Waterland. Senator Lee.
But not as good looking as the
Okay.
chair from Economic Development. Thank you. Let's move on to the next measure, which is Senate Bill 2001, relating to the Banyan Drive Community Development District, which establishes the Banyan Drive Community Development District Special Fund. Testifying first on SB 2001 is the Mayor of Big Island, Kimo Alameda, HCDA. Signed up, my apologies.
Executive Director of Board Community Development Authority, in the interest of time, standing on my written testimony in support with some clarifying comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Department of Land and Natural Resources. Thank you. Up next is Office of Hawaiian Affairs on Zoom.
Aloha, chairs, vice chairs, and members of the committees. I'm Sharday Freitas, Public Policy Advocate with the Office of Hawaiian Affairs out of our Hilo office. We stand on our written testimony, and I will also highlight key points as provided in our comments. Much of the district consists of ceded lands, and OHA has long sought to ensure that the state does not alienate these ceded lands, that it maintains these lands to ensure corpus's viability and availability for the future Lahui. We appreciate and recognize the importance of the cultural specialist, and also recommend the inclusion of a lineal descendant member, as done in HB 2616, to honor this place and redevelop in a way that acknowledges the history in a more balanced, restorative, and responsive to community well-being. OHA recommends being included as a member of the Banyan Drive Redevelopment Agency, and for the governor to appoint the cultural specialist and lineal descendant members after consulting with OHA and considering our recommendations. Mahalo for the opportunity to testify.
Thank you. Up next, also on Zoom, Waiho'ola Nui La'au Lapa'au Foundation.
Aloha. Mahalo for having me testify in opposition to SB 2001. We oppose this in regards to the specifics that it's not including lineal descendants at this time. We also want to recommend that including the lineal descendants on top of the authority is essential to what the initiative was when we proposed our support for HB 2616. And I think that needs to be very clear that lineal descendants do support 2616, which is not, this is 2001, but it's also related because now recommendations from all the same parties are going back into this bill. So we would appreciate that you folks recognize that we would like to be a voting member, not part of an advisory group. And I think if we can do this as a La Hawaiian community to recognize our voices, we would greatly appreciate that for our kupuna. Mahalo.
Thank you. Signed up next is also on Zoom, James McCulley.
Thank you very much, Chair Lee, Chair DeCoit. I'd like to recognize Vice Chair Lorena Noy for her longtime commitment to the improvement of Banyan Drive. I'm the chair of the Hawaii Banyan Drive Hawaii Redevelopment Agency, but I'm testifying today in my personal capacity. I'll stand on my testimony, but I would like to give a special notice to Chair Don Chang. Aloha to her, and I hope for her recovery and her department's willingness to work with HCDA, the legislature, to support Banyan Drive's redevelopment was a significant change in policy, and I appreciate Acting Chair Kanakaʻole's ongoing support for Banyan Drive's development or redevelopment in a community-driven way. Thank you very much, and I'm able to take questions should it come. Thank you.
Thank you. Also on Zoom, Nathan Gaddis. Hope I'm
Yes,
pronouncing that.
yeah. You are, good job, yeah. Yeah, aloha. I'm Nate Gaddis. I'm referred to as Nate. I also serve on the Banyan Drive Hawaii Redevelopment Agency as vice chair, but I'm also here in a personal capacity. I'll stand on my written testimony, but I also just want to kind of comment and add very briefly. There's some differences between the House version, obviously, and the Senate version, both in governance and in some mechanisms and protections. But we'd like to see this move forward. So the process can move forward, and so that any tweaks can be ironed out between them. A lot of people put blood, sweat, and tears into this that aren't even here with us today, and it's high time this move forward in a positive direction. So expressing support. Thank you.
Thank you. That's everyone who had signed up to testify on SB 2001. Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure? Seeing none, are there any questions?
Yes. HCDA, just briefly, can you tell us your new recommendation for amendment?
So, good afternoon, Senators. So I have really kind of three amendments. One has to do with kind of a simplification of the name to Waiakea. The other is to do kind of a structural change, which is on page 4, lines, page 3, lines 4 to 13. It was kind of a drafting error that came down from the drafting agency. So we're suggesting that it be removed. There was some references to the Banyan Drive Redevelopment Agency. Those should be replaced with the Banyan Drive Hawaii Redevelopment Agency, the agency that Mr. McCulley is on. And finally, I think to address the concerns raised, I would suggest that lineal and cultural descendants be on an advisory council. Now, I realize that it's an advisory council, but I think this advisory council, along with other community members, will be an invaluable, resource to the board. At the same time, to expand on that, Senator, as you know, we are undergoing a master planning effort for Waiakea Peninsula. We had received $1 million from the late Representative Nakashima, so we're undergoing that master planning process. We are going to assemble a community advisory committee that will help us do the planning and visioning for the district. I would suggest that that kind of role for cultural lineal descendants and other community members is really the heavy lift that's going to occur with the planning, because they will look at uses in the Waiakea Peninsula. They will look at different land uses. And once that master plan and rules are done, it will become the plan for development for the agency for Waiakea Peninsula for many, many years to come. And that's really the heavy lift, and where I think they can have impactful participation in the planning process and in what goes on development-wise, and then also cultural resources for the district. So that's, in a nutshell, Senator, the suggested changes we're asking for.
Just a question, and several concerns, and it was brought up at the chambers as well. When you look at Waiakea Peninsula, it's a bigger picture other than Banyan Drive. The concern that many in the business community and those that are interested in developing Banyan Drive is foremost. And so when you look at Waiakea Peninsula, as you talk about, right next door is a county. So you got the gardens, you got the Coconut Island that belongs to the county, and then you have Hilo Hawaiian and the rest of the land use that is under DLNR. So that's a big picture when you talk about the Waiakea Peninsula. So with that said, knowing that we're in an urgency to get Banyan Drive up and running soon, where are you with the $1 million and the community input? What's the schedule so that we can start to move on? And when are you going to do the RFPs once we have the issue on another bill we have, taking back the golf course from the Naniloa's properties?
Okay. Senator, I'll just take it one step at a time.
Okay.
Right now, I'm focused on trying to get Banyan Drive or Waiakea Peninsula established as a district. That's our first thing. Normally, when we do a district like this, we would start to develop the district, and then we would start the master planning process. But because the master planning money was appropriated, a year and a half or so ago, we wanted to make sure we got to use that money before it lapsed. So where we are in the master planning process is come this summer, maybe June or July, we're going to stand up that community advisory committee that I just spoke about, that's going to have representation from cultural and lineal descendants, from other people in the community, that's going to help us shape the vision for the peninsula. Then later in the summer, we're going to hold a community visioning exercise where our consultants are going to present all the data that they've learned about utilities for the district, the possible infrastructure that's needed, other kinds of information, and then have the community kind of present their vision for the district. So that's where we are, Senator, in a very nutshell. And I always like to talk about what is the end result. The end result is we're going to come up with a community master plan that hopefully, I say hopefully, reflects the vision and the voices of the community that they have in Waiakea Peninsula. And the reason for the name Waiakea is it's place name for that whole area. And it's not just Banyan Drive, because Banyan Drive is just one part of it, but it's that whole peninsula, including Coconut Island, and which is integral to the area. So thank you, Senator.
It's just a concern that we have, because several things that hopefully doesn't interfere with what's planning, because we have several bills. Number one, take the golf course back within the Banyan Drive. We're asking for $15 million to demolish the country club on Banyan Drive, and just a matter of where we are today, and hopefully there's no stall, as you already heard from some members of the chamber that was just recently said, to move this along. But it's just a concern we have, but that's it for now, Madam Chair and Mr. Chair.
Thank you. Senator Favela.
Okay, so my question is with the new descendants and the cultural. Why would it be an issue to have them on the board? Again, this is another reason why, again, a lot of our people have issues. Government wants to supersede the whole issue and say, hey, Token Child, we're gonna make you an advisory board. These guys have deep roots, generation of that area, been left out for generation. You heard that other guy said that's on the board. Oh, planning people, right? You just said about the other person that was there a long time, tried to plan this. Again, excluding the main people that have vested interest. I'm not talking about money-wise. I'm talking about cultural-wise. Every time we put the money before culture, that's an issue I have. And the whole issue about trying to cut everything up and do everything like that, putting the cart before the horse, that is not acceptable. So I don't know where you feel, because you're saying these amendments, where you feel that it's okay to supersede the Hawaiian people by making them an advisory board. You see what I'm saying? Like, I continue to do that, especially on that island. So I know you know the people that is involved. You know their lineage, you know their heritage, you know the whole thing about their family being relocated and moved out of the area because of development. But all they wanted was a seat at the table. And then you tell them, no, that's okay. We're not gonna do the House bill. We're gonna make you guys an advisory board. Because, you get plenty say, but they don't have a vote.
Senator, I don't think the Waiakea Peninsula is all about money. I think the primary focus when...
Well, I didn't say you.
Okay,
I just saying in the overview.
Okay, sorry. So I think I'm not trying to put the cart before the horse. When I talk about the planning coming first, it was just because we had the money appropriated to us and I needed to start doing that planning right away. And then now the bill is working its way through the legislature. So we just needed to do the planning a little bit ahead of the establishment of the district, just because of the money, the funds that we have available right now. I didn't want to lose it, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, so no, I'm not talking about you in general, so I know you in the seat. I'm just thinking, when I'm trying to explain that, my whole issue is not about all that other stuff. My issue is, again, government is telling the people, you can be on an advisory board because you're going to say everything. But at the end of the day, the board still yet going to vote yes or no in the advisory from the community. So if the community tell you they don't want to rebuild that hotel that we're breaking down, we don't want it there. We want it to be access to the beach. We want to have it usage for the community. You guys would be good with that? No, because you guys are going to build a hotel and we're going to spend money to break down one hotel that the other person that I even give nothing back. We're going to bring that Markham down, have somebody come in, another commercial person will come in. What is a safety zone for our community and our community members?
Senator Favela, with respect to Country Club and the demolition of that hotel, that's really far from what the plan envisions, or at least some initial plans. We were actually thinking that Country Club, and next door to it is the Uncle Billy's lot parcel that was recently destroyed. There's other hotels around there, or former condominium hotels that are around that area. We were actually envisioning that area to be open space and park space, in addition to other uses, but park space. Because one of the things that is going to happen with sea level rise is certain places on that peninsula are going to be subject to more sea level rise than others, and it could be some of the parks like Liliuokalani Gardens. So to make up for sea level rise, and I know not everybody believes in sea level rise, but it's a reality. So I think for Uncle Billy's, for Country Club, where there's a bill to demolish it, actually the vision is to do some kind of open space and some kind of park that can also serve as a buffer for sea level rise for that district. So I don't think anything has been set in stone in the planning. That's what I want the community master planning to bring forward from people, Senator. Thank you.
I'll just note, just for the clock, should the measure move forward, we'll get to see it again in the Ways and Means Committee and have further questions.
Thank you, Senators.
Anyone else? All right, seeing none. Thank you, everyone. Let's move on to the next measure, SB 2599, relating to development, which redesignates the Stadium Development District as the Halawa Community Development District, and makes related amendments. And first up on 2599 is HCDA.
Stand on, written testimony, we support some minor changes. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next is Stadium Authority.
Thank you, Chair, and thank you, Chair DeCoit, as well. Mikey Dow from the Stadium Authority. This and the measure afterward, we stand on our written comments, or we stand on our written testimony in support. We welcome the opportunity to codify and to strengthen our relationship with HCDA. We would like to note, however, for both this and the bill afterward, that there are some issues in that the Stadium Authority has sole jurisdiction currently over the entire development of the 98.5 acres. That has to change should this relationship move forward in this manner. And also, we do believe very strongly that we currently have a relationship with the city administration, that we can move forward on infrastructure permitting, that we have the things in place necessary to get a vibrant community and a vibrant district in the upcoming years, and that this HCDA model would serve as a backup to that we can move forward as currently constituted. Thank you.
Thank you. That's everyone who testified on this measure. Is there anyone else?
Aloha, Angela Melody Young testifying on behalf of CARES. In strong favor of this legislation. So I don't know about the competing interests to manage Aloha Stadium District, but I can provide a proposed amendment. Which is that the committees should consider a work group to invite University of Hawaii, invite the county's Office of DPP, who is experienced in transit-oriented development zones and can assist with the planning, because the Oahu General Plan already anticipates University of Hawaii and the train. And that's, a development zone within the Aloha Stadium district. And so the counties can also provide clarification about the complex transit-oriented development zoning standards. And so, making minor or major adjustments in the powers of these authorities are central to the new Aloha Stadium Entertainment District project. And to streamline the complex process from a single state-run stadium to a co-management of a 90-acre mixed-use community, with the initiation of the demolition and the dismantling of the original stadium
Thank you, Angela. Your
to be
time is up.
completed by mid-2026. It's a lot, so the committee should anticipate working with the
Thank you.
counties. Thank you.
Is there anyone else wishing to testify in this measure? Seeing none, are there questions? Seeing none, all right, let's move on to the next measure, SB 2604, relating to the Stadium Development District, which appropriates funds for the planning, design, development of the Stadium District by HCDA, contingent upon Stadium Authority submitting a report that includes various documentation. Testifying first is HCDA.
Good afternoon, stand on written testimony, provide comments. Thank you.
Thank you. Up next on Zoom is the Attorney General.
Not on Zoom, Chair.
In person.
Good afternoon, Deputy Attorney General Kevin Tong with comments. We have concerns that certain provisions of this bill conflicts with the Stadium Authority's sole jurisdiction as raised by Mike Yadao. We recommended certain amendments or changes in our written testimony, depending on the intent of the legislature. I'm available for questions. Thank you.
Thank you. Finally, Stadium Authority again.
Thank you, Chair Lee. Thank you, Senator DeCoit. Mike Dowell, Aloha Stadium Authority Executive Director. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but essentially it's similar to the previous in that we welcome the opportunity to work with HCDA. However, we believe that as currently constituted, the Stadium Authority has sole jurisdiction over the 98.5 acres, and that as currently constituted, we can move forward. But again, we welcome HCDA involvement, and we welcome the opportunity to move forward as a partnership. Thank you.
Thank you. That's everyone who had signed up to testify. Is there anyone else on SB 2604? Seeing none, are there any questions?
Quick question, Mike. So, Mike, with this bill in the form and the prior bill we just heard, your outreach within community and other partners, say UH and so forth, that has been engaged with, correct?
Yes, Senator.
Okay, now I just wanted to make sure that that has occurred. We have people that testify and sometimes try to kind of read the bill too far into it. I want them to be reassured that these partners have been involved from the beginning. My other question is that involvement within the county, and I believe the mayor had said that, do you have full support on behalf of the mayor and the county?
First, to your previous question, absolutely, Senator. The community can be assured that all stakeholders have been engaged. For instance, at our recent Stadium Authority District Office blessing and the dismantling or the beginning of dismantling of the current stadium, all stakeholders and parties were invited and participated, including the University of Hawaii, who played a prominent role and who is a big part of our development moving forward. On your questions with the county, Senator, you heard from the mayor himself. The mayor has been on record and has said privately that he is in full support, and the current administration and several members of the council have also indicated their full support and expediting permitting and helping us to move forward in infrastructure spending. And I also want to make note that our current agreements have all infrastructure being dedicatable to the city. We want to ensure that this is a plug and play so that anything that we develop, we can get city support and be dedicatable so that they take care of the sewage and the water and the things of that nature. We don't want to take on that responsibility as a state agency.
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator.
Senator.
Sorry. Oh, Stadium, sorry about that. Thank you so much.
I was running away, Senator, and you caught me.
Almost.
No, thank you, Senator.
Question, since you've been in contact with the county and it sounds like they've been very cooperative, were you able to get any of the sewer capacity information that we've been asking leadership prior to yourself?
Absolutely, Senator. So this is where we are with that information. We have received emails and verbal indication of where we need to be on housing capacity, keeping it in that 4,500 number, the 4,500 number. We have now submitted formalized letters to both the Board of Water Supply and ENV so that we can get a formalized report back that justifies that number. And both have been responsive thus far and intend on getting it to us as soon as possible. I would like to kind of draw the underline that all consultants, whether it was RLCO or others, have indicated that given the demands that the stadium itself will have, the mixed-use retail and the potential other developments have, that the housing number is pretty firm in that 4,500 housing units.
Okay, so you basically have a kind of unofficial rough number.
We have an unofficial rough number, but we are codifying that with official responses from ENV and the Board of Water Supply.
Okay, thank you. And then one more question, please. The bill specifies that funding will not be released until the Stadium Authority has a project readiness plan. How long do you think that that's going to take for you guys to do? Because there's no deadline on the bill or no time frame on the bill. So I guess it comes down to you guys on when you guys have the plan, then we move to the next step. How long is that going to take you guys?
So the way that I can answer this, Senator, and please forgive me, I'm gonna dance around just a little bit. So forgive me in advance. All construction projects have multiple contracts that govern them. There's no one contract that governs it all. On the stadium site, we've had 5 or 4, depending on how you count the last 2. 2 of them were the stadium specific, and those have already been settled and executed as of September of last year. Recently, as of the day of the blessing itself, we reached a tentative agreement on the master development agreement, which is a tentative on the development that surrounds the stadium, what will be there, how will it be there, who pays what. The reason it's tentative is because the lawyers are finalizing the language. We literally reached that agreement that morning of the blessing. And then lastly, it's going to be the ground lease or infrastructure type on the rest of the development, and that's what we're currently negotiating. We expect to finish that by mid-March. Therefore, we feel that we are progressing in a manner in which we do not need this kind of involvement from HCDA. That being said, we welcome it as a backup should we lose support, or should another administration feel differently about our project, or should any other thing happen that we need to keep moving. So I guess to answer your question is, we expect to be done with our contracts very shortly that will allow us to move as full partners with with AHDP.
Yeah, and I understand your pushback a little bit with having oversight from HCDA and DEGS. However, and you're the new guy coming in, but prior to you, there were leadership that was kind of sitting on things. So I think that if we can assure the legislature that all people are working together, accountability is at the forefront, making sure that things move along will help to get you the funds sooner rather than later. And my last point that I'll make is that right now, the funds appropriate for $48 million-ish.
49.5.
49.5.
I'm sorry, I gotta be specific because I need it.
And you know, the reason why we want to expedite the readiness proposal is because the longer it goes, the more money that's going to be needed. So I just wanted to mention that, but thank you very much, Mike. Thank you, Chair.
No, thank you so much, Senator. Sure.
Further questions? Seeing none, all right. Did someone want to ask the director a question? Follow up after. Okay, yeah, take a quick recess.
We are, EDT and Waterland is decision-making on today's agenda. First up, SB 2156 relating to land use. Recommendation is to pass with an SD1 by incorporating the amendments recommended by DBED and the recommendations from OSPD, making any necessary technical and non-substantive changes and defecting the effective date to July 1st, 2050. Members, any questions? Discussion, sorry. Vice Chair Kai for the vote. Chair goes aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga. Senator Kim.
Aye.
Senator Favela.
Aye.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Committee on Waterland, same recommendation.
Chair's recommendation of the Committee on Waterland, Culture, and the Arts on SB 2156 is to pass with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Chang.
Aye.
Senator Lamusao.
Aye.
And Senator Decourt.
Aye.
Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Senate Bill 3085 relating to Hawai'i Film Studio. We are going to pass this with an SD1 by defecting the effective date to July 1st, 2050. Any discussion, members? Seeing none, Vice Chair Kai for the vote. Chair goes aye.
Noting the presence of all members, any opposition or reservations to the chair's recommendation? Seeing and heard none, Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you.
Thank you. Committee on Waterland, same recommendation.
Okay. Chair's recommendation on SB 3085 to pass with amendments with 5 members present. Any voting with reservations? Any no votes? Measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next up, Senate Bill 3169. I have been in conversation with Chair Lee in regards to coastal resilience for not just Montecuji, which I have been a huge supporter of the Montecuji Bay and preservation of that area due to land degradation and erosion. We are going to look at incorporating this along with Senate Bill 2401 that will help move this project along faster, that my esteemed chair has been working on. I have full faith in him to help us move this forward. So in this case, I will be deferring Senate Bill 3169.
Thank you. I'll just add, thanks to the chair. As we know, we've had several shoreline erosion bills over the last week or so, all doing different things. So we're trying to consolidate and create a pathway that won't let this project or other things fall off. So it's one, I'll just say, I've never been there, but it is clearly one of the most dire situations, I think, throughout the state. So I want to make sure that we can do it right, and that conversation will continue.
So with that, Senate Bill 3169 is deferred.
So move on to SB 2001 relating to Banyan Drive Community Development District. I'd like to similarly recommend, I'll just note we have 3 bills all relating to HCDA on this agenda, as well as some others we've considered. We'd like to move these on, but I'll just note we are now just a few hours away from the deadline to file bills. And so I know on this measure in particular, there were some comments from the community about changes and some of the others that we're not going to have time to incorporate right now in this particular moment, but we'll note those for the next committee, and rest assured we'll work with the stakeholders and community and others to make sure that this is done right. So what we're going to do is actually combine these measures together into the next bill. So for the moment, we'll be deferring SB 2001. So we'll go to SB 2599 relating to development. This is the first stadium HCDA bill. So this measure, we'd like to move forward and use as the vehicle for the other measures here. So we'll incorporate, recommendation to move this forward with amendments, incorporating the contents of SB 2001, which is the Banyan Drive measure we just spoke about, as well as the contents of SB 2604, which is the next measure on the agenda, and the contents of SB 3327, which this committee previously heard and passed out a few days ago, and then just add in tech amendments and a defective date. And I'll note, there are amendments and tweaks, I think that some of the testifiers have rightly raised on some of these measures. So as we move forward between now and the next committee hearing, we're going to work with the stakeholders to iron those out, since we don't have time to actually dive into the substance and draft those amendments by the deadline when we have to file in just a few hours. So appreciate everyone's time today, and rest assured we will continue the conversation. So any comments or questions? If not, Vice Chair.
Okay, for the Committee on Water, Land.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chair. Is it okay if I?
Yes.
So, Chair, thank you for your work on this bill. I will be declaring a conflict for this measure because my husband is an engineer for one of the contractors for the Aloha Stadium, and I would ask that I be recused from voting from this measure at this time. Thank you.
So noted, and we'll do that. Any other discussion? Seeing none.
Okay, for the Committee on Water, Land, Culture, and the Arts, Chair's recommendation on SB 2599 to pass with amendments. Chair Lee.
Aye.
Okay, Vice Chair goes aye. Senator Chang.
Aye.
Okay, Senator DeCourt.
Aye.
Okay, and just to note, Senator Lamasau is excused. Okay, measure is adopted, Mr. Chair.
Committee on Economic Development and Tourism, same recommendation. Vice Chair Okai for the vote, chair goes aye.
Noting the
Oh,
presence of all
excuse me, Chair.
members.
I know you guys are gonna make the amendment, but I never hear what I had asked. So if that's gonna be actually into the committee notes on the lineal descendant.
Oh, yes. My apologies, right, we talked about that. Yes, for the Banyan Drive bill, per, I think, the discussion you had raised, Senator, we'll note that in the committee report.
Okay, thank you, Chair.
Okay, take two, Committee on Economic Development. Chair DeCoy.
Aye.
I vote yes. Senator Fukunaga. Senator Kim. Senator Favela.
Yeah, with these changes, I'll be voting with reservations.
Chair, your recommendation is adopted.
Thank you. Thank you, members. With that, we are adjourned.